Theme
We
song.
also want a bumper.
We want a theme song.
We want a theme song. Yeah. Hi. We are live already.
Hello,
And
world.
and yeah, cool to see some people joining. And I think oh, sorry, I heard myself. I had the YouTube video open, so let's get started again. Sorry for that. Cool. Brett, I think you learned a new word this week. It was bumper, right? So you asked me what is a video bumper, and we were just talking about it that we want one to enter the stream, but we don't have one yet. So
What is a bumper?
it's like that's how I learned it, like the intro for a video or for a stream that you can play in the beginning and afterwards. So like a little jingle.
We just start. It's like starting in the middle of a movie because we're always just kind of like talking when we
start, yeah.
begin the stream.
But actually, well, I think today will be relatively short. We will talk about D1, that's Cloudflare's SQLite database, and we want to move this into production. And we do actually have a template for it with the Honc app. And I just share my screen and let's do that because I've created the template already, so we don't have to do that, or the project with the D1 template here.
Could you zoom in, perhaps? A little Command plus might do the trick, but I don't remember. Yeah.
Yes?
Nice. Yep.
Okay, perfect. Yes, so D1 template is chosen. I call it Honc Out for the project. So let's navigate into this project. As you can see, I have multiple things starting like this, or with Honc or with Hono. So that is a project that I just created. And actually, this is called moving it to production. But before we move to production, I have a local question for you, Brett, because you might be the person who can answer that, because I recently got the question and I didn't know. Because we also can now develop locally and create a Wrangler instance locally from D1 to work locally on it. And we do a lot of things for generating, migrating, and seeding the database. And we can find that in our where is it? Package JSON. There you are. And I was basically wondering about this one here because I haven't seen it in our other templates. We need to do a DB touch to start our instance or to get our instance. Well, question for you, Brett.
Yeah. Okay. So I guess show rather than tell. So have you run DB migrate or DB generate in this project yet? Don't do it. Okay. Perfect. So go to your terminal and then just do pnpm db generate. So this creates the files for our migration. Whoa, look what happened. So right now, if we want to generate files, we need to be able to basically, okay, drizzle under the hood in that drizzle.config.ts is always going to try to connect to a database in order to perform any operations. And in this case, when we go to execute this command, it'll fail because there's not actually any database. And so, okay, this is becoming a long answer, but SQLite locally is just like one big file, effectively. It's just like one big file that holds your database. And when we initiate this project right here, that file doesn't exist. And Wrangler, which is Cloudflare CLI, is the one that's typically responsible for creating that file, and it'll create it in an obscure path in the .wrangler directory. So if you do, actually, could you l dot in your terminal? Oh wait, that's my alias. Just do ls-a. Okay. So right now we don't have any anything called .wrangler. But if you just copy,
if I would do the db touch, I would get one, right? Yeah.
You can copy the command for db touch. And
Now I have everything, but
Oh, okay. And then like for that Wrangler part, so Wrangler probably doesn't. You don't have the global, I'm guessing.
yes, I need to do it like this.
NPX, and then at the end you have a dangling double quote. If you go to the end of the line.
Yeah, that needs to.
Yeah, and you can do. I think you can do Command right arrow, and it should go to the end.
Enter.
Okay. Yeah, enter. So this might take a second. All right, perfect.
Oh yeah, cool.
All right, so it tells us we're executing a command on a local database named honc d1 database, and that command executed successfully. Now do the ls.a again, and now you'll see we have a folder that's called .wrangler, and if you ls.wrangler, you're gonna, and you can tab complete. Okay, now we have state, so ls.wrangler/state, and you can just tab away. Okay, and then ls.wrangler. Sorry, and then do v3.
Okay, and then
v1. All right, and here we have a mini1 d1 database object. And actually, is that a directory? Can you try to ls that and see what happens? In tab. Yeah, and then so here we get, that's the directory that holds all of the databases. So the one that's .SQLite is our SQLite database that we try to connect to. So now it exists. You can generate migrations, and then you can apply migrations. And that's locally how we get D1 to initialize when you kick off your project with DB setup.
Because now I assume now that this exists, the drizzle config will find the database. So now I can generate and migrate to the database to also have my tables locally running and everything. Okay, cool. Thanks for the explanation. But yeah,
it wasn't. I mean, it's a ridiculous, like working with D1 and Drizzle is not especially ergonomic, and that's why we have our template, which is like to try to make things a little bit simpler. Like this took, this, and then what we're about to cover, going to production with D1 took, a couple hours of going through Stack Overflow posts and GitHub issues in order to resolve. And the solution isn't necessarily elegant, but it works, and it's supposed to save people time. So like we have this template to save you hours of work if you want to use Honc with D1.
I mean, that's true, because I always run this one, right? The DB setup, which is like running all the scripts like touch, generate, migrate, and seed. So one command and I get all of it. Yes. But cool. Well, let's move to production, and I open the README because I feel it's a good starting point. And there is basically the one thing that we need to do is we need to create now a D1 instance for production. So now I have a local one here, but I also need to make sure I have something that runs in my Cloudflare portal or developer portal. And I can do that from the UI within Cloudflare, but I'm using the Wrangler command as well. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm also, just to paint a picture here. So when we say go to production, like you're developing locally, you have this local SQLite file, and that's your database. Now, when you want to deploy your worker, it needs to know how to connect to a database. So it needs to know that database needs to exist. And then separately, that database needs to have all of our migration files applied in it so that the tables exist to access data and things like that. So that's what we're covering today, is how to create the database, configure your worker to use it in production, and then ultimately run migrations against it in production.
Okay. So I'm just calling this one Honc D1 database, and I hope this doesn't exist. Maybe, well, we will see. It exists already.
All right.
It's called Create Honc D1 Database 2.
All right. So we will need to update some commands
Yeah, we have to update a command as well. Yeah, so, but this is handy. I feel if you do it in the CLI, you get already this information. And this goes now into our Wrangler toml. So I'm just doing this one here. And I guess I need to have this somewhere in my code base because it's normally Honc D1 database.
Yes.
Is that in the, I guess it's in the drizzle config maybe, or?
Not. It's actually in the package JSON.
It's in the package JSON. Huh.
Yeah. So our CEO did have a very good idea. We should wrap up some, like, it's very manual to have to change the database name and database ID across these files. So, okay, in this, if you scroll up, DB touch. So you want that Honc D1 database to be the new name. You can just add a 2 to it.
Yeah,
and
that's
then
true.
for the DB migrate, that Wrangler D1 migrations apply Honc D1 database 2. All right,
yeah,
you save that, and
that's saved.
Yeah.
Yeah, and well, okay, that's actually also good to know. But yeah, so now going back to the Wrangler toml, I also need to create some prod variables, and we have an example here already. And yeah, we talked about that before the stream. I will bravely today share some of my API tokens and stuff with you, and I will delete everything afterwards. So there's probably nothing to be compromised afterwards.
But for any would-be attacker, Nella is on the free plan, so you're gaining nothing. If you try to steal this API key in the time it takes for us to remove the API key, it's not worth it. So just please don't.
Yeah, well. But yeah, I go now to the prod vars example, and I see here that I need the ID for the database. I use the one that I know. And then next up is actually a token, basically an access token that gives me rights to add it to my D1 database table. And for that, we go to the internet. We go to Cloudflare.
Oh, did someone honk in the comments already? Did I miss that?
You should honk back.
Back.
And in my account, I can here go to the API tokens. I do have already some, but I create a new one for the stream and will delete it afterwards. I go with a custom option. I call it Honc4. Cool. And now, importantly, it needs to have the D1 added rights, and that's all that the token needs. So we can skip all the rest. Continue summary and create token. And now I could even open a terminal and test if this token is active. I trust it for now, I would say. Or do you want to see that, Brad? I think we can trust it, right? Yeah, we can trust it. Let's go back to the code and let's take the token in. And then this is really funny. How long did it take you to find your Cloudflare account ID?
So I looked in the URL and I found it. That was my way. Wow. I heard our colleague describe a much better way to find it.
Yes. Well, I mean, I was wandering around the UI for very long. It's also, you can also find it in the UI, but you can actually use Wrangler, and that's quite cool. Like Wrangler, who am I? And that's amazing.
Who am I? Isn't that from Les Miserables?
I have no idea. Okay, so now, and there we also have my account ID. Here we go. So I just leave it here. And yeah, basically then the one thing that I need to run now is only this command, and that should give me everything. Well, it should give me at least the database in production. And then I can also deploy my worker. Because, we have generated the tables already. Okay. So.
Did we run db generate?
Did we?
Let's run it. It doesn't matter if.
We see. No, we haven't.
Oh, so you actually, I see the issue. Your file is called .prod.vars example.
That's very good.
That's good. And this is by default in our git ignore for the template. So you can safely save credentials there. safely save credentials there without accidentally pushing them to Git or sharing them on a live stream. Wait, no, it doesn't prevent you from sharing them on a live stream.
Yeah, no, I just did that. So no. Okay, let's. Oh, I didn't want to change something in here. Just wanted to. But I think we haven't created them. There is nothing to migrate. So let's db generate.
I have a couple of notes on this, and they have to do with. Go ahead and execute this. So technically, we put in the git ignore your drizzle folder, which is the folder that holds the files that describe the migrations, and that's at the top, right under .wrangler. The top.
Oh yeah.
There we go. And so, in theory, you do want to check that into Git. I have it on my backlog of like modifying the templates not to ignore them. The reason that we have that in the git ignore is so that we don't put the migration files in the template. Because we want you to generate them from scratch. And so it's to prevent us from doing something silly. Realistically, yeah, we should make the template be like a real world app. So we need to fix that. Anyways, you've created the migration files. It's time to apply them.
Yay! Now let's do that for our D1 in production.
So yeah, the command is db, migrate : prod, and it looks like those were applied successfully. I have I have two. If you wanted to check out that the tables existed and everything, so you see on line 12, there's db studio in your package JSON. Just copy that line, copy and duplicate that line right below it. So in the package JSON, so we're creating a new script. All right, then put after on the line 13, do : prod, and then copy that line from line 9. Copy the environment equals production. I say copy it because we actually have a typo that I have an open PR for as of today, where that does not say
typo. I'm really bad on typos, but I don't see the typo.
It says environment instead of environment.
Okay, oh my God.
100% my fault. And today I was testing something, and I was just baffled that why it wasn't working.
We need the thing here. Perfect.
Okay, so now if on your terminal, execute that command, db studio prod. This is going to be a good showcase of Drizzle Studio. All right, visit that URL. And what this is a database explorer powered by Drizzle. So you can see here, I guess we didn't show the database schema, but our database schema is a bunch of users. And you can see it's there. And you see this other thing called Drizzle migrations. And that's how Drizzle knows which migrations it has applied. So it can kind of do some bookkeeping on that.
Cool.
Yeah.
So cool. I mean, yeah, I think another way would be, but I guess Drizzle Studio is better for it. But you could technically, I guess, also go to the Cloudflare UI and see your D1 there. And I think then you also see that there is a table created.
That's true.
But yeah, I mean, I like that more. It's like more in the workflow anyhow, and we have a command for it. So okay.
Yeah.
Closing this, and I feel we are ready for deploying our worker as well. I mean, the worker is not doing anything super interesting, but should we just go to production with the worker as well?
Yeah, why not?
It's basically the deploy. Sorry, I don't know what it's basically here, the deploy command.
Right, npm run deploy. Oh, let's see. Okay.
Yes, we have access to the following bindings to the D1 database. We also see the ID here. That should be the one that we created for the production.
Yep.
We do have an endpoint, so let's visit that one as well.
We might want to create.
Honc from above.
That's honk from above.
And I mean, that's the part where, I mean, we haven't seeded anything, right? So if I call now the user's endpoint from that application template, I have nothing in the database. I only have the table.
Do you still have the Drizzle Studio open?
No, I closed it. Should I open it again?
Yeah, or just open a new tab. Oh wait, yeah, because you need to run the command. I apologize. You do need to run the command.
So it is pmp db. Was it DB Studio or was it DB Studio prod?
What we're gonna do is create a record there, and then hopefully it shows up in the production API.
Perfect.
It's connecting. All right. So here you can add record ID.
I don't know.
Sure. I think 7 should work, right?
Why not? Let's start with 7. I don't know.
Red Hat Fiber Plane. Okay, and then the others will be.
Okay. Don't spam Brad. This email address works.
Save that change. Oh wait.
Well, we just do one.
Yep. All right. Okay. Save one change.
There you are.
And if we go,
let's see. Yeah. I need to. I haven't added the window. Sorry, navigation.
Whoa, where are we going?
Now we go.
Okay.
Yeah, I feel. I think Arc is closing them is putting them somewhere. But here it is now in the API users. Oh, there you are.
Voila.
Cool.
Yeah. All right. So we have a production D1 database.
Yeah, and I mean, well, you technically said we might also want to have a script that is seeding for the production, because now we have one that is seeding locally. I don't know if you can give an update what the status looks like.
You know what? Okay, just because we've already taken, it's almost 22 minutes and 33 seconds of streaming so far. I will say, just look for the forthcoming PR on Create Honc Out. I have a branch. I've tested it. We were going to do it today, but time. So yeah, the kicker there. Is there a kicker? Yeah, you just need to modify the seed file to know how to access your production D1. And it's a little tricky there. And then I do need to test something. So a little note on this. I guess this is what we can say about seeding D1 with Drizzle, or just in general in production. Okay, a couple gotchas. One is there's no adapter in Drizzle really to talk to like a production D1 instance. You have to write your own adapter that uses Cloudflare's HTTP API to make the calls. One of the difficulties that I ran into with seeding a larger project called Place Goose, which was just we had several hundred records we want to seed all at once. Cloudflare's API will reject your queries if it has too many variables, which I think is actually a SQLite thing. So if you have too many SQL variables, which is what Drizzle is using under the hood to construct the queries, then it's not doing that. So the trick that I did in that case was I just did batches to seed all of the data that we had locally. Now, however, this is if you have records that you want to seed. If you use Drizzle seed, for me, it worked out of the box with our simple template where I just told Drizzle seed, hey, this is a database that's connected via HTTP to D1. And then it was able to just do its seeding magic, just like normal. So the thing I want to test is if you have 10 tables and you try to seed all of them at once, will your seeding command fail in production? That's the cliffhanger.
So maybe there's a second. second version of this where we just talk about how seeding turns out in production
Because
with
geese
SD1.
love seeds. If you've ever
Yes.
seen geese, they go crazy for them, I think. So it's on brand.
Well, cool. But yeah, you're right. We already 25 minutes in the stream, and our goal was 15 to 30 minutes each week. So I would say it's a stream, and I see you next week.
All right. Theme music. Da 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 da. Honk honk honk. Bumper slide. Bumper slide.